Podcast Strategies, episode 72. Why authenticity is so crucial to building a community with your podcast. I was having a call with a client yesterday. They are well into their podcast and they are starting to feel a little bit of the burnout that comes with podcasting sometimes, because they feel like, and this is a client who is giving away tons of value in their podcast. They are teaching amazing things. So much of the stuff that this client talks about in their podcast, I've implemented in my own business. This is the benefit I get from producing so many shows, is that I get to hear all these great ideas. And I was telling this client that, your stuff is great. And they were reacting to some feedback that they'd gotten from their audience that was similar, that they didn't feel like they needed to buy any of the products that were being sold or come to any of the events that were being held or sign up, because they were getting so much great stuff from the podcast. And part of our conversation got onto the relationship that this client has with their audience and how authentic it was. And I, at some point in this conversation, mentioned that, the episodes that I really latch on to from this client's podcast are the ones where they shared information about their family or practical implications of the advice they were giving in their real life with their spouse, with their child. And we really got back to this idea that maybe being more real, maybe being more raw would be a good thing for this client and this show. We often talk about how powerful authenticity is in podcasting, but some people hear so many really glitzy podcasts and they hear this leadership coach and this marketing guru use all these phrases and doing call to actions from the beginning of their show. And some people jump in and their podcast may just sound not authentic from the beginning because they're doing their podcast the way they think it should be done, or the way they've heard a million people do it, or Gary Vee do something, or so-and-so, and you know what I'm saying here. So I want to get back to this concept of authenticity and how crucial it is to really connect with your audience in this way. I mean, if you want a podcast that brings stability, that creates loyal customers, people who trust you before they buy, people who can't wait to tell the world about you, I think that your podcast has to showcase your true, authentic self. It's got to grab the listener's attention. It's got to build relationships by helping them get to know you, like you, trust you, and then also solve their problems. And if you do all of those things, I think they're going to be more likely to share your podcast with friends, which really is the ultimate goal. I mean, I come back to the statistics of people find podcasts, number one, through a Google search, and number two, by it being recommended by friends and family. So you really have to connect with your community. I've shared ways to do this before on the podcast. Number one is you've got to tell your story. Right now, people are lonely. They're really starved for actual conversation. Think about all the people that are commuting 45 minutes to an hour in major metropolitan areas. Think about the people that are having to work a second job overnight and they're listening to a podcast because they want to learn something. They're frustrated. They really want to connect with someone and they want to learn something from that person they've connected with. So you, who is, again, millimeters from their eardrums, you have an opportunity to share your life with them and build a real bond of friendship, a real bond of trust. And then really quickly, because of the amount of time, you become an expert, right? So don't hesitate to share your advice, share your knowledge, but then relate it through story, relate it back to ways you've implemented something in your business or in your life Share the good, the bad, the ugly, because that's what your listeners going through. That's what your clients are going through. We've talked about before how it's really helpful to, if you're a coach or someone who's trying to showcase your coaching business or any type of business in any way, bring some of the people that you're helping onto the show. Do case studies. Do live coaching sessions on your show, because that shows your listener that this is real. This is real world implementation of what you're talking about. And interact with your listeners, not just in social media, not just in Facebook groups and responding to comments and things like that. Bring listeners on the show. Ask for questions. Ask for listener emails and respond to them. Periodically, like I try to at least once a quarter ask my email list, hey, what can I do to help you? What am I not answering that would be really helpful for you to know? And then respond. And then people realize, oh, you're actually here to help me. You're not just here to do a call to action or some offer for some course or video or program or challenge or workshop or conference every episode. You've got to be really there for them, because I think most of us got into this business of entrepreneurship or helping others. We got in this to help others, to solve problems. And you've got to keep showing that that's why you're here. And when you do this, I think one important thing to look at is engagement. Where are you getting engagement from? Your podcast is likely going to be the top of, let's say, your client recruitment funnel. It's going to be the largest number of people. And then hopefully through helping them and not asking for too much every once in a while, like with our clients on our Complete Plus package, we're doing a weekly, just a PDF download for each episode that is the key takeaways from the episode, so that people don't have to re-listen to the episode if they really liked it. They can get all of it and take it with them in exchange for their email address. And every once in a while, take a look at that email list that people have been funneled to from your podcast, and see how often people are emailing you. And if you're not emailing them often enough, that's another issue. Most of the people that I see having success through their email list are emailing their list once, twice, sometimes even 3 times a week, sometimes more than that with subsets of their email list. And if people are responding, if people are saying thanks, that's a really good sign, because those are the people that trust you enough to share their email address with you. It's like sharing your home address in today's world. So that would be a really good indicator of the quality level of the authenticity that you're bringing to your podcast. Really, I've said this many times, a podcast is the best form of new media for creating an authentic relationship with potential clients, because they spend so much time with you and they spend it with your voice just millimeters from their eardrums. So think about that next time you're sitting down to record an episode. If you've got a script, maybe scrap the script for a few talking points and go off the cuff and share how you really feel about some of the things that you're talking about. So thanks again for joining me this week, and stay tuned in just a second, because I have a request for you after talking all about my email list. I would love for you to respond to the questions that I'm asking and set up a call with me so that I can ask you a couple of other questions, so I know I'm delivering the value to you in this podcast. I would love to get some more information from all of the listeners out there, people who love podcast strategies, people who are listening each week. I want to know what you need and what is bothering you right now, or what problems you're having, what hurdles you can't get over in your business or with your podcast. You're trying to figure out just like what to figure out, which is hard enough. And since we don't know each other, even though we know each other through the podcast, but we don't really know each other, it's hard for me sometimes to know how or if I can help everyone that's listening. Is it crazy to assume that, like me, you're against wasting time and opportunity? So here's my idea. Let's schedule a 10-minute call where I jump right into asking you 2 simple questions. Number 1, what are 3 of your top headaches or frustrations in your business right now? You could just say, I hate trying to blank. And number 2 question, what are 2 to 3 goals for your business that you want to kill over the next 3 to 6 months? That's it. You don't have to worry about if they're in my skill set or represent the kind of work I do. I know other people that might be able to help you if I can't help. You're just going to vomit out the answers and I'll know immediately if I can help. The rest is easy to figure out. I.e., do you want me to help? That's it. Are you against giving that a shot? If not, just go over to dannyosmond.com/call and schedule a quick 10-minute call with me at a time that works for you. And I really look forward to talking with you, hearing your opinions, hearing your answers, and seeing if there's a way that I can help you or get you the help that you need.